Good morning, campers. It's your host, JV, on the channel, The Voorhees Files. Um, Before I get into today's video, I just want to apologize for the delays in videos and posts and stuff like that. I know I said in the very first introduction video that it will be Mondays and Fridays that I'll be posting something, whether it was just a picture or a video or whatever. I've kind of been having trouble with keeping up with that schedule just because I've been having a lot of personal problems. Been getting kind of sick and all that stuff. So please forgive me on that. I'm sorry about the delay. I am trying to fix that and get caught up. It just, like I said, there's kind of been some roadblocks. So forgive me on that. But anyways, today's video, if you haven't seen my most recent post on Instagram, I came up with a concept idea for Jason Voorhees in Friday. My bad. A concept idea for Jason Voorhees in Dead by Daylight, right? And so this video is just going to expand on that. Basically, just me kind of giving you my thoughts and opinions and give you a more detailed explanation along with the three characters, the three survivors to come along with this killer. Either they could be done all three, or you could pick and choose which survivor you think would, you would like more. But I only came down to three. There was just so many characters that I kind of liked. And there was one character that was really close to me making a concept, but the only problem is that there was only one perk that I was really interested in making for that said character, and I just couldn't think of anything more for him. But I'll get to him later at the video. That'll be the cut content part at the end. But starting off will be the title card. Basically, when you buy the DLC or whatever, and it has, that title card, it'll be the classic Friday the 13th logo. It's a classic, it's lovable, it's very recognizable. We all know it, all know and love. I enjoy it, simple yet effective. And the background, it's going to be a still shot of Camp Crystal Lake. I mean, come on. I know there's so many iconic maps, like so many iconic areas in the franchise that we could have chose from, like the Jarvis Estate and Camp Higgins from part 2 with Sackhead Jason. But I mean, like I said, I think it makes a lot of sense to just go with the classic, the true Camp Crystal Lake, the one that Jason drowned at, the one that we all know and love. Okay, I think it just makes sense. It's just it's right there. It's right. It's a low hanging fruit, honestly, right? And as you see, for the name of Jason in this game is the Hunter. Okay, and I'll get into a video explaining that a lot more. And I mean, everyone kind of understands. Everyone gets the idea. I think everyone can agree on it. But Jason's a hunter, right? He had to hunt for food. Growing up in the wild, he had to hunt for food, all that stuff. But also, he hunts survivors. He hunts the counselors and all of them. He hunts them down to kill them, to get them off of his property, all that stuff, because that's just what he does. So it only makes sense. Like I said again, low hanging fruit, but I think it just fits him so well. Okay, now on to the man himself, Jason Voorhees, the Hunter. We're gonna go into his perks first, and then we'll get on to his power. Okay, so first perk. Oh, before I get to reading this, just a little warning. I got really excited into making the concepts for these characters and stuff that I kind of let my brain go faster than my actual movements, to where I didn't either mistype, I forgot to add words or whatever. So if it seems kind of jumbled or anything like that, forgive me. Like I said, I got really excited. Okay. Anyways, first perk, Scourge, Hook, Lake Fog. At the beginning of the trial, 4 hooks are highlighted white. When a survivor is unhooked, that survivor's map is covered in fog, making it harder to see obstacles and others. Survivors must sabotage the hook they're on to remove the fog, right? So pretty much it's imagine Dredge's Nightfall, but not pitch black. It's just a thick fog that covers most of the map. Like you can kind of tell where you are, but it's also you can't see far in the distance. You can't really see like you can't really poke your head around the corner and be like, "Oh yeah, I can see this, that, and the third." Why? Because there's fog covering everything. It's supposed to bring a lot of like environmental interactivity and to kind of spice things up because it'll make stealth killers a lot more dangerous, and then it would probably help out with killers that struggle to be stealthy or to get the upper hand on survivors. It'll help them in this way. But also, I know you're probably gonna be like, well, if they all they have to do is sabotage the hook that they just came off of, then we're just gonna bring Saboteur. But yeah, that's the thing. You're gonna waste a perk slot to bring Saboteur just to do this. Or you're gonna waste your charges on a toolbox just for this, just to counter this perk. Yet, more than likely, if the killer plays you right, if he counterplays you right, you're probably not going to get the chance to really disable that, to sabotage that hook. That's that's the whole point. It's like it's a great perk for the killer in either way. Either he gets to use it, it works, it works in his advantage, and he could scare survivors, or you're making a survivor waste a perk slot. Pick your poison, right? But I think it's just really fun, and it just brings a lot of interactivity within the environment. Next perk, Cabin Fever. After a generator is completed, this perk activates for 50, 60, and 80 seconds. Survivors that are on their final hook are exposed. Downing and picking up the survivor will allow you to perform an environmental mori, right? So this perk isn't really meant for early game or mid game. It's mostly more the end game. And it's not like I know it's probably to most people it's not the best perk because it's like, oh well, why don't you just make an offering to come along with this DLC that allows you to do that? Yeah, but I mean, why make an offering to do that when you could just turn it into a perk? And I think it's kind of fair. I think it's kind of fair because it's like, hey, we'll reward you with being to have a more interactive kill than just the one type of kill you can do, or the two type of kills you can do. And like I said, bring a lot of environmental interactivity into it just to kind of make it feel fun. Last perk, Parental Influence. If a survivor unhooks another survivor and begins healing within 15, 10, or 5 seconds, you can see all survivors' aura for the total time the survivor takes to heal, right? So this is supposed to be kind of like an anti-perk heal, but I know it doesn't sound like the strongest perk, but trust me, it is good because think about it. It's more of give and take. Because say you bring will make it, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna heal this guy in matter of no time. Yeah, but if you start doing that, guess what? The killer is gonna immediately get to start seeing everyone's aura. So you're risking everyone else's safety hood just for this one survivor's safety hood. You get what I'm saying? It's one of those things of pick your poison. Do you really want to start healing underneath that hook, or do you want to wait and then go from there? And like I said, it's like I said, pick your poison. It's supposed to bring like some type of mental game to it, I guess. Now on to the best part, the power. Okay, I took a lot of thought into this, into making this power. Just for the fact is that everyone loves Jason. Everyone wants Jason in Dead by Daylight. But here's the thing: is what would his power be, and like how would you implement such a character into the game? And that's kind of the difficult part. It's like because there's just so many options to choose from. Well, let me fix it here today. Like I said, I took a lot of love. I put a lot of love into this concept for all the characters I'm going to show you. I try to make it as honorable to each character as possible, right? Like the perks for Jason, I try to make it as honorable to him, to the way that he is in the movies, stuff like that. And the power, it's pretty much take all the movies, take everything you pretty much see in the movies, and just shove it into one thing, but make it make sense, right? So, first part is stock. Hold the L2 button to stalk survivors and build your rage meter, right? So, sorry, kind of sick. So, forgive me if you hear me cough here and there, or hear any wheezing or whatever. Like I said, I'm still kind of sick, kind of recovering. But Jason, the best way to explain this, Jason is a more physically aggressive character than Michael is in Dead by Daylight, right? He shares kind of the same power as Michael, but to a different extent. Michael, the shape, he has to stalk to get into Evil Within and to get into Evil Within 3, to where he can do Slaughtering Strike and all that stuff, right? But the shape's whole thing is stealth. The hunter's whole thing is aggression and letting you know that he's there, but you just don't know it yet. Michael or the shape, his whole thing is, he's there, you just don't know where. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's kind of a difference. It's like one's a lingering threat and one's a undeniable threat, right? Because the shape, he could pop in anytime that he wants to. He could pop in on you whenever he wants to, or he could go and, terrify someone else. But with the hunter, he's gonna show up. There's no denying that. He's gonna show up. You just don't know when. And that's what makes it terrifying. But to get to the point where he can be like that, he has to stalk you, just like he does in the movies, where he stalks the counselors and he stalks, all these people before he goes for the kill. It only makes sense. You know what I mean? So hold the L2 button to stalk survivors and build up your rage meter. Rage. When successfully stalking, you enter rage. When in rage, become undetectable and move 115% faster, or 1.6 meters per second. That's the thing. I'm not the best at the math in this game, so please forgive me if the math doesn't make sense. But pretty much, he's supposed to kind of have like the speed of tier 3 Michael, right? When he's in rage. But like I said, I'm not really the best at breaking down the math in this game, so do forgive me on that. I'm trying my best here with all the knowledge I have, okay? Anyways, you can walk right through breakable doors and pallets. Your lunge is increased by 110%, and the map is covered in a thick fog, making obstacles and others difficult to see. Rage lasts for 120 seconds, but if stunned, you leave rage, but the meter is left in place before stun. So pretty much like with the tombstone piece for Michael, whenever more a survivor with your hand and stuff like that, you do exit out of tier 3, but you do still have the same progression as you did when you're in tier 3. So it allows you to get back to it as fast as possible. And that's kind of what it is. It's like a built-in tombstone. Not tombstone, but like tombstone piece. My apologies. But pretty much there's that part. It's that when he's in rage, he's an undeniable threat. He's coming. There's no denying the fact that he's coming. You just don't know when he's coming, and that's what makes it terrifying. Because not only is he gonna be just walking straight through these doors and through these pallets without having to take the whole animation of kicking or slamming, whatever, he's just going to walk straight through it. But his lunges are going to be, longer, and he's going to be undetectable. But you will probably not even be able to see how massive this man is until he's literally in your face, because he's just going to come emerging from the fog right at you. And that's just, in my opinion, it makes it so terrifying, and it adds such a menacing threat to him, as he should. Okay, now here's the passive ability. Because I know what you're probably saying. Well, JV, 120 seconds isn't that long for a power to be compared to the shape. Yeah, I get it, but that's the whole point. You can stalk and all that stuff and waste your time stalking. Cool. I mean, you could definitely win if you just stalk and go into rage every single time. Or if you want to switch it up and feel like you have more variety with this killer, the passive ability is where you're going to find it. With camp equipment. When not in rage, search lockers to grab a unique weapon. There's going to be 3 unique weapons, right? So imagine just like how the trickster and huntress searches lockers to grab hatchets or throwing knives. Jason gets to do that, but he gets to have a new toy to play with, right? First weapon is going to be bow. Hold the L2 button to aim and draw arrow. Then press R2 to shoot up to 50 meters, right? It's obviously going to injure you, but it's supposed to, work for long ranges and just to kind of get cross-map damage, right? And also, come on, it makes sense. Second weapon, fire axe. Hold the L2 to enter a dash. Hold L2 to enter a dash, then press R2 to slam the axe. So kind of like Oni's dash, Demon's dash, but it's not going to be as fast as Oni. You're not going to see Jason super speeding across the map. That's going to be absolutely crazy. But it's going to be definitely Jason going into a run, just like the 2009 reboot movie of Friday the 13th, where he comes running up to the guy that's stuck in the bear trap with the machete, but you see Jason fucking booking it. That's kind of the whole point. He'll be running, right? And, slamming the axe. You can put add-ons to change the effects of what happens when you slam the axe, stuff like that. But pretty much you're just going to injure the survivor. Last weapon, fire poker. Hold the L2 button to aim the fire poker. Then press R2 to throw poker at an arch up to 15 meters. I know that's not a big distance, but hey, it's like, hey, I know that survivor is about to get to that window before I can hit him, but if I throw this fire poker, I'm going to get him. It's supposed, like I said, it's supposed to add more of a threat and more variety to Jason's moveset, right? This is the whole idea for Jason. It's supposed to add variety. It's supposed to make him versatile. It's supposed to make you feel like you're playing Jason, just like in the Friday the 13th game. And it's supposed to prove that Jason is a hunter, that he is a looming, he's an undeniable, menacing threat that is going to be there no matter what. No matter if it's with a machete, an axe, a bow, a fire poker, you name it. And you never gonna know if he's just gonna kill you on a hook, or if he's gonna do his basic mori, or if he's gonna slam you against a tree, or he's gonna break you in half over the window frame, or anything like that. You never know, and that is the beauty of this. I hope that you can see what I'm talking about when I'm explaining this concept. I hope you can see the beauty of the idea of this Jason being in Dead by Daylight. I feel like it would just add such a fun gameplay, not only for killer, but for survivors. I know there can be a whole new, whole bunch of new techs and stuff like that to be added into the game just to counter Jason. But you really got to think about it, and you really got to work around it to counter this guy. I just think it'd be so fun, and I hope you can really see it. But we'll get back to that later. On to the survivors. Now, on to the first survivor. Obviously, we're going to go with the obvious pick, the low hanging fruit, but iconic Tommy Jarvis, right? Um, Here's the thing. I, this one took me a while to kind of think on, just for the fact is that, like I said, Tommy Jarvis is an obvious pick. Everyone loves Tommy Jarvis. Everyone recognizes him. Everyone knows who he is. Um, but the thing is that there was just so many like different ideas that I had, but some of the ideas I was really unsure, and it was kind of hard. It was hard to kind of come to a agreement with myself on what his perks would be. But I went between part 6 and 7, from New Beginning and Jason Lives, to kind of come up with an idea for Tommy Jarvis. I took both of the two adult Tommy Jarvises that we see on screen, and I kind of just mixed them together. Um, so first perk, as you see, is radio call. This is more of a reference to, um, pretty much in like Jason Lives, where he's calling the sheriff and he's calling somebody trying to say, "Hey, Jason's coming." But also in the Friday the 13th game, if you get a hold of the radio and you call Tommy Jarvis, the first person that was killed gets to come back as Tommy Jarvis. So that's kind of a reference to that. But anyways, radio call. When a survivor is hidden within the killer's terror radius for 20, 15, or 10 seconds, see their aura for as long as they are within the radius. Right? So pretty much it's like say you're playing with a teammate. Say you're playing with a friend of yours, and you know your friend's not that good at the game. So all they can really do is kind of hide and kind of like, you know, kind of just turtle around and stuff like that. And you want to kind of keep them alive to exit, to leave the trial successfully without getting killed. This will kind of be that kind of help to kind of keep track of your buddy. But it's also good for like public matches because it's like, hey, if you can tell what the killer is at all times like that, that works for you because either you could go try to be altruistic and kind of go take over the chase, however, or like, hey, I know where not to go. I'm gonna stay over here and do my generator, however I please, right? Um, but that was that. Second one, lunatic rambling. Because like I said, everyone thinks that Tommy Jarvis is crazy, because the whole Jason thing. But I mean, yes, he's traumatized, and I mean, he didn't really go about the best way of solving his trauma with Jason Voorhees and stuff. But I mean, he's not wrong, but everyone still calls him a lunatic. Everyone calls him crazy. So this perk will be called lunatic rambling. You must warn the others fast. When you and others are repairing a generator within the killer's terror radius, repair speeds are 10, 20, and 50% faster. After leaving the generator, gain 250% haste for 2, 3, and 4 seconds. Right? So pretty much the job is the killer is nearby, the killer is coming, and you need to do whatever it takes to get on out of there as fast as possible. So you're going to pump out that generator to get those gates open as fast as possible. And even if the killer gets there before you finish that generator, you're going to book it for the hills before he can catch you. Let him catch someone else before he catches you. But, it's you're warning the team. You're letting the team know if they're working on that generator with you and they see that they're going faster and they see that little icon, then they're like, okay, now I know that we are in some trouble. We are in some deep trouble, right? So that's that perk. Last perk is haunted visions. Because in part 6, New Beginning, you see that he has the visions of Jason like popping in the mirror and all that stuff, and he just gets paranoid and all this stuff, and he can't stop thinking about Jason. Like in the beginning of part 6, you see Corey Feldman, Tommy Jarvis, visiting the grave, and he's watching, and he sees these two guys come and kind of start digging up the grave, blah blah blah, and Jason comes back to life and kills him, and then he comes to kill Will Corey Feldman, Tommy Jarvis, and that's just the haunting visions of Jason, right? So this perk, your past with the masked man left you traumatized. Every time the killer performs a basic attack, see their aura for 2, 4, and 8 seconds. I mean, it pretty much, I kind of explained it. He has visions of Jason attacking. He has these visions of Jason coming back for him, all this stuff. So I think this would be kind of a fun perk because it's like if you can tell when the killer's attacking, it's like, okay, I can kind of see the pattern, right? Because, like, say you see the killer start whiffing. One, that's going to be funny because you're going to constantly see his aura because you can tell that he can't get a hit for the life of him. But also, it's also a good way of tracking tracking the killer. It's a nice little tracking perk. It's this one you kind of take it with a grain of salt, work around with it, use it to your advantage however you please. It's a multi-purpose tool, however you want. Tommy Jarvis is supposed to be a multi-purpose knife, a little Swiss Army knife, because you can use it to track the killer, or you can use it to track your teammates, or you can use it to just kind of benefit yourself. It's anybody's bet at this point. Just like how Tommy Jarvis is. It's anyone's guess of what he's going to do in the movie, right? Because, I mean, yeah, let me put up chains and padlock on a giant rock and put it on a canoe and tell Jason to come fight me. You think anyone thought Tommy Jarvis was going to do that? No. I don't even think Tommy Jarvis knew what he was going to do until, like, last second. He was just rolling with it. Okay, next one is going to be my girl Tina Shepard from part 8, The New Blood. Right? I mean, she is a really good choice. I really love her character. I love the whole idea of zombie Jason fighting a telekinetic powered girl. Or, I basically just say she's a witch, right? So, of course, with that being the whole gimmick, she is going to come with 2 very special perks. One's going to be an invocation and one's a boon. It obviously makes sense. She has these powers. Only makes sense that her perks have powers, right? So first one, invocation grim presence. This invocation can only be performed in the basement and takes a considerable my bad. I'm struggling to fucking read. My apology on the language. My bad. It's just natural. Sorry. But anyways, the invocation can only be performed in the basement and take a considerable duration of time to complete. Survivors can see your aura during the process and can join you, increasing the invocation speed. Once complete, all survivors can see the killer's aura for 2, 4, and 5 seconds when starting their power. On the other hand, you'll be injured and broken for the remainder of the trial. So, my apologies. So, pretty much is, she knows that Jason's there. She knows Jason is out in these woods. She knows about him. She knows that there's a masked man that emerged from the lake, all that stuff, and that he's not good, that he is going to kill people. But the thing is that in the movie, she sees what Jason's about to do before it happens, pretty much, right? And that's what this perk's supposed to basically be, is that you're going to be able to tell when the killer is using his power, right? So you'll be able to see when Huntress is, searching a locker, or she's winding up that axe. Or you can see when Ghostface activates Night Shroud, or anything like that, Or you can see when Dredge is teleporting, stuff like that. It's basically being able to call out when the survivor is not the survivor, when the killer is using their power, and it's supposed to be a way to kind of counteract the killer, right? Kind of add that kind of what's the word I'm trying to say? That pressure on the killer, because the killer now needs to worry about the survivors knowing what he's gonna do in some way or form, right? Now, next perk, Boon Shattered Docks. Bless a dole or hex totem to create a boon totem. All pallets within the boon totem radius will slam and reset themselves at random intervals. The pallets cannot be hurt outside the radius. Right? So pretty much in the movie, she's moving all this stuff with her mind. She's throwing stuff around, all this stuff. But this is really supposed to be a reference to when she kills her dad at the beginning as a child by collapsing the dock and stuff like that. So to kind of imitate that is pretty much the pallets within that boon totem's radius will slam on their own, and they'll go back up, and they'll keep on doing it. They'll just keep on doing it at random times. And so it's supposed to kind of shut down a jungle gym and stuff like that for the killer. Because it's like that killer could maybe just walk right through that pallet, or he could walk and get smacked without survivor even needing to be there, right? Imagine how helpful that could be. Is that you're being chased by the killer, and you are about to hit that pallet, but the killer gets to that pallet before you do, and he knocks you down, and he picks you up, and somehow, right at the perfect time, the perk triggers the pallet to slam right on his face. Your teammates are on the other map, not the other map, but on the other side of the map doing their thing, yet the pallet saved your life, and you don't need to worry. You could just start booking the hills. You don't have to worry about your teammate being in danger. You just book it for the hills. And that's just going to annoy the killer, because he's going to be like, are you serious? There's no way this person brought this perk. I think it's just a really fun, it's a really big trolling perk. I just think it's really fun. I think it would be a fun environmental interactivity. It's a really goofy, a really funny, it's a really intriguing perk, and I really like it, right? I enjoy it. I would love to see that perk work in the game. Anyways, her last perk is Wicked Woods. When the killer is undetectable, this perk activates. When the killer is 5, 10, 15 meters near you, but is covered by an obstacle, so pretty much like, say, there's a wall, or there's like a wall or two or whatever between you and the killer, like on Larry's Memorial Institute, or there's like a couple trees, or however, pretty much if you can't see the killer fully, right, but they're undetectable, you can see their aura, right? And it's pretty much to, like, as I said, she knows Jason's here. She knows he's in the woods. She knows who he's gonna kill next. She knows, and she's like kind of the only hope of getting anyone out. And this is pretty much to kind of counteract stealth killers. And this kind of works towards countering Jason in his power, because it's like when he's in rage, not only is the map covered in fog, but he's undetectable. So this perk would really, really help counter Jason. You see what I mean? And like I said, it's really fun, and all of her perks is mostly power related. she's supposed to be a really fun character. Her perks are supposed to be really fun, and they're supposed to really just bring her to life because, like I said, her whole thing is that she's telekinetic powers. She has these visions. She can see everything, and I mean, I feel like these perks really did her justice. That's my opinion. Um, if you have certain feelings about it, I would love to hear it. Or if you have kind of like ideas of how you would rather like how you think it could be better or anything like that, please leave a comment or anything. I would love to hear it. I would love to exchange ideas with y'all and kind of compare, right? But I think this is a really good one. Now, on to the last one that I worked on. Um, I know maybe not a lot of people liked his character in Jason Lives, or maybe if anyone really even remembers him or anything like that. But for me, Jason Lives is one of my favorite Friday the 13th movies. I like the design of the Jason in there. I just like the way most of the characters are written, and I just really love Sheriff Mike Garris. I really enjoy his character. He feels really authentic. He feels like an authentic sheriff character. He cares about everybody. He's not like an asshole all the time, but he's not like a pushover either. Like he's the perfect balance. He's a great character. He's a great father. He's a great sheriff. He's just I don't know. I when I see him on the screen, when I hear him talking on the screen, all this stuff, I just enjoy his character so much. So I couldn't deny myself from making him his own little perk set. Because I mean, come on. So pretty much with his whole thing is to kind of like break down what his whole gimmick is before I even get into the perks. His whole thing is to take care of your teammates. There's it's it's not really taking care of yourself. It's taking care of other survivors and protecting your team. This is a altruistic character, and that's what I'm going to stand by. I could not bring myself to bring a single perk to where it's just benefiting him. It all goes to taking care of the team. If you see someone playing as Mike Garris in your lobby, best believe that's going to be your homie, that's going to be your bro, that's going to be the guy that's going to get you out the trial alive. So first perk is going to be parental instinct. When in chase, if the killer turns to chase another survivor, this perk activates for 2, 4, and 6 seconds. Press the activate ability button while behind the killer to tackle them to the ground, stunning them. Right? So this is a reference to later on in the movie where Jason is hunting him down in the woods and he's kind of hiding like in the leaves behind the tree or whatever. But his daughter is yelling for him in the distance, and Jason hears her and turns to start going towards her, and he's like, no, I'm not, like, no. And he goes and he tackles Jason. This man tackled Jason to the ground. The pure audacity, the pure cojones on this guy to just tackle the guy that's been killing everybody. Like, come on. That is baller. And I think it's just going to bring a really interesting gameplay mechanic to the game. It's like I said, it's going to bring a lot of interesting moments. It's going to bring so much interactivity and so much fun to the game if we had something like this. I think it's just really cool. It's really unique. It's really fun. Next one, vigilant aggression. When a survivor is injured, see their aura and gain haste for 5, 10, and 15 seconds. I didn't add a percentage on the haste speed because I couldn't really think of a good one. So if y'all have like a good haste speed or whatever or anything like that, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear it. But pretty much, this perk is active for 5, 10, and 15 seconds. This perk does go on cooldown for 40 seconds. So pretty much, this is supposed to allow you to get to that injured survivor as fast as possible to try to save them, right? To try to help them out in any way you can, so then y'all can both make it out alive. It's just doing your job. It's being the hero you're meant to be. Last last perk, Town Authority. When the obsession is within 12, 17, 25 meters, gain 25, 30, and 35% haste. Stuns. My bad. Sorry, I read that really weird. Gain 35, 30. My bad. 25, 30, 35% haste, stuns, and repairs. After the obsession leaves the radius, this perk goes on cooldown for 120 seconds. Pretty much is that kind of like, okay, in the scene where all the counselors and stuff comes to the sheriff office to visit Mike Garris, right? But Tommy Jarvis is in there. He's in the jail cell, and Tommy Jarvis is getting all of their attentions by talking about Jason. But Mike Garris, he ain't gonna take that. He's not gonna let Tommy Jarvis kind of, put these thoughts into the others' heads. So he takes full control of the room, and he takes authority over the whole conversation and the presence of the room. He demands respect, and he demands the attention, and that's pretty much it. You're benefiting off of the obsession to better off take care of the team, because you'll be faster, so you'll be able to you'll be able to reach things faster than anyone else. Your stuns are going to be a lot more effective on the killer than someone else's stuns, right? And also, you'll be able to repair generators faster than the rest of your team, because you just want to get your team out of there alive. You want to distract the killer and weaken the killer as much as possible before they can take down your team. And that's the whole point of Town Authority. Yes, it's kind of benefiting yourself, but it's not really. It's more of, I'll take this little seed and I'll plant this garden for you, right? That's kind of the whole gimmick. But Mike Garris, really great character, and in Jason Lives, I could not bring myself to not implement him in this idea. I'm sorry. Like I said, if you don't really like the character, or if you didn't even know the character exists or anything like that, please, I would ask for you to kind of reconsider and kind of open your heart to Mike Garris. I feel like he deserves a lot more love than he got. But those are the three main survivors that I put along with Jason in this Dead by Daylight concept idea. There is cut content. I did start working on a Julius Gaw concept, but I could only think of one perk. And this perk is really fun, really interactive, and I feel opens a gate to more. But I will do that on a very shorter video. This video is probably going to be about 40 minutes long explaining all of this, because I'm terrible at talking. But I will make another video explaining Julius Gaw concept and get y'all's opinion on it. But anyways, that is the concept for this. If you want to talk more about this concept, please leave a like. Please. Oh my God, I can't speak. Sorry. Please leave a like on this video. Leave a comment saying, hey, part 2, or, make a request. If you have any questions, any comments, any ideas, any feedback, please feel free to leave a comment. And I will see you campers on the next episode. Bye-bye.